It is Thursday, April 14th, 2022. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. Do you like my new lid, brother?
I can't really tell what it is, so I think I do. Can you explain it to me?
What does it look like, first of
all?
It
looks like a dancing duck.
It's close. It is a disco turkey. This is courtesy of the Carolina Disco Turkeys. They're one of those summer league teams. Go check out the website. We'll put it up all over our John Boy Media social media. And it's just, I love the lid. I saw this one. They reached out to me. We're good to go. I am forever known as a disco turkey.
You know, turkey is one of those things. Why do people only eat it on Thanksgiving?
Do you ever have a turkey in my fridge right now?
Yeah, but that's deli turkey. I'm talking about like roasting a whole turkey. Why do we only do that once a year, guys? It's delicious.
It's a process.
You're a process.
That's what it is. Once again, Baseball Today is presented to you by our friends over at MUGSY Jeans. I'm going to tell you why it is the best fit going in your entire wardrobe. It is in mine, and it should be in yours. That's all coming your way. But let's start with the guy who is fit to be king in the American League, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., a 4-hit night as the Jays take care of the Yankees in the Bronx. His second career 3-homer game. Unbelievable. So I'm going to ask you this. Are you confident that A, Vlad Jr. and Sr. will become the greatest father-son duo in history, or B, Jr. will actually be better than his Hall of Fame father?
This one is a no-brainer because your first question, are they going to be the first or the best father-son duo ever? It's never going to happen. It's Bobby and Barry Bonds and then everybody else. Barry Bonds is 2 Hall of Famers in one. So unless maybe Vlad's son will come out and then all 3 of them can compare to these 2 guys. But that ship has sailed. Now, will Vlad Jr. be better than Vlad Guerrero as a senior? Do you call him a senior? Just Vlad.
Let's just call him Pops.
Pops.
Vladdy Pops.
There's a chance. There's a chance because this boy's putting up some monster season, and you start collecting 8-war season after 8-war season after 8-war season, you know, things start to add up. So I think there's definitely a better chance that he catches Pops because Bobby and Barry are just in a league of their own. Bobby Bonds almost has 60 WAR. He almost matches Vlad's WAR. Vlad's in the Hall of Fame. I don't think Bobby is, but Barry Bonds, I'm looking right now. I mean, just go check out his baseball reference page, and you can't really compare. There's very few people ever in baseball you can compare to this guy.
Yeah. So with the first question about the greatest father-son duo, you're right. They have a lot of ground to make up on the Bondses. We know about Barry, but Bobby, for people that aren't familiar, you know, he got a lot of MVP votes, never won it. More than 300 homers, more than 400 steals back in the day when they actually did steal bases. So I'm going to get to question B of this part. Where is Vladdy in relation to his daddy? Well, they've each played. Vladdy Jr. has now played 350 big league games. Pops is 17 points higher in batting average, but Jr. has 4 more home runs. They're almost identical in RBIs. Vladdy Jr. walks more. He strikes out more. He's got a slightly better on-base percentage. Dad's got a better slugging percentage and a better OPS. So what does that all mean? It means that if you didn't see Vladdy's dad play, he was one of the great 5-tool players for a short span because his defense wore off eventually, kind of when he moved on from Montreal. He didn't run the bases the way he did in his younger days when I think he had a 40 stolen base season. Vladdy Jr. is never going to do that sort of stuff. But man, can the kid mash, and he understands hitting. So I do give him a shot, and that is saying, would that be awesome that if you have a father-son duo in Cooperstown?
It'd be incredible. It would be absolutely incredible. I mean, Vlad Jr., they look the same when you match up like their hitting styles. I mean, there's slight differences there, but on the defensive side, they're kind of completely different players.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. I mean, go give some love to Bobby Bonds. Go give some love to Vlad Guerrero, the dad, because these guys were incredible. You can't forget about them. Watching Vlad Sr. throw people out, like the guy had an absolute cannon, no batting gloves. Like he was real deal, grimy ball player type stuff. So I can't get enough of it.
And by the way, the Griffeys aren't far back on that list. You know, Junior's old man was a pretty good player. Did you know they're the only father-son duo to win All-Star Game MVP honors?
I did not know that.
Did you care?
I do. That's really cool. I mean, I think about this stuff. Teddy better get to the show. I want to be like involved in this list. We'll be down a little bit, but at least we'll be in the conversation.
Well, this will be something that you would have heard later this summer, because the All-Star Game is at Dodger Stadium for the first time since 1980, when Ken Griffey Sr. won the honors. And then Junior won it a dozen years later, I want to say, when the game was in San Diego, when the American League took it to Tom Glavine in the first inning. They batted around. I'm an All-Star Game junkie. That's my thing.
Interesting. Okay.
That's my thing. Okay, let's move on to the other big story that we had from Wednesday, and that is Clayton Kershaw in his first start of the season. 7 perfect innings, 80 pitches pulled. Clayton Kershaw said afterward, "I'm good with it. I get where I am. I understand where I want to be." Now that we've had a few hours to let the dust settle, are you any less angry about it?
I was never really angry about it. Definitely you want to see that happen. I mean, this is history. How many perfect games have there been? 23. 24 if you count Galarraga, because you probably should add him in there, to be honest with you.
We can't.
I think you can. I understood the situation. I think that's why. This offseason was completely different for guys. When there's a lockout and you can't talk to the teams, you don't know when baseball season is going to start. For a pitcher, it's really hard to start your throwing program. Now you can be throwing a little bit. Clayton mentioned this after the game. So I didn't pick up a ball until January. Now, I don't believe that. I'm sure he was throwing a little bit, but he means I didn't get into my routine until too late. Then they sprung spring training on everybody, and then it was a shorter spring training. So these guys really aren't built up. Clayton Kershaw, if he wanted to be in that game, he could have said, "I want to be in the game." There's no doubt about it. I think he, in his mind, knew for this season and probably for the foreseeable future in his career, it was okay for him to step back at the time. He said so afterwards. I don't think he was just saying that to save Dave Roberts, because like I said, if he wanted to stay in the game, Dave Roberts is not telling Clayton Kershaw he has to come out. That's just not happening.
So are you disappointed in Clayton that he didn't give himself a shot at history?
Not at all. Not at all. It was the perfect storm of events to get him out and for me to understand it. If this is later in the season, he's built up, that boy's not coming out of the game. It doesn't matter what anybody says. Okay. But first start of the season, he's only built up to 75 to 80 pitches. He's got to go 2 more innings. He said his slider was brutal at that point, which, that's on his scale, but he knew he'd have to go another 30 pitches probably.
And which they didn't. Gary Sanchez ended up breaking up the perfect game in the 8th inning. So I wanted to see it. I love history in this sport. I especially love it when the game's elite give us history. Nothing against the likes of our buddy Dallas Braden or Philip Umber. Those guys will live in baseball lore forever, but it is something special when a legend gives you a perfect game. And for a legend, yes, King Felix did it. Exceptional pitcher. But when you're talking about legend, it's like you got to go back to a Sandy Koufax sort of deal. Randy Johnson, that sort of stuff. That is legend. And Clayton Kershaw could have been that. So I wanted to see him do it as a baseball fan. And then every bit of the dad in me, the practical guy, the playing through the what if scenarios, knew it wasn't going to happen. Just knew it. And I spent the rest of the day and even the morning today on radio interviews defending the Dodgers, Dave Roberts, Clayton Kershaw in the sport of baseball, because people who are just kind of ancillary baseball fans are like, this is why baseball sucks. And I had to give them this explanation. I said, there is no other corresponding or correlation in other sports. If a running back is coming off of an ACL injury and did not play at all in the preseason, but laces it up in game 1, they're going to regiment his carries so that he won't ever have a chance to break the single season rushing record. If a guy's coming off a torn ACL in the NBA, he didn't play at all in the preseason, in game 1, he's not going to log enough minutes to threaten Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game. So we can't ever get there. But in baseball, because the other team doesn't grind out at bats against Clayton Kershaw, here we are after 80 pitches in the 7th inning, and everybody's looking at Clayton Kershaw like, why the hell aren't you out there still?
Yeah, there was way too many people on social media last night calling for Dave Roberts' head, calling, Kershaw soft. Like, come on, guys. First of all, none of this can be laid on Dave Roberts or even the Dodgers front office's hands, because like I said, if Kershaw wanted to be out there, he could be out there. What Kershaw did say was the problem was the lockout. So maybe Major League Baseball and all those people need to look at that and say, okay, we stopped the perfect game from happening. But in the long run, for this season and for the Dodgers to accomplish what they want to accomplish, this was the right call. It sucks. It's okay to say that it sucks, but you understand why it had to be done.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be mutually exclusive. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can both be the right call and it can suck. I really firmly believe that. But do you think, I understand him throwing the lockout in there. Let's say he had the full 6 weeks of spring training. Let's say he had picked up the baseball in early January instead of late January. This is still start one coming off of an injury. I still don't think he would have continued on.
I think he does. I think at this point you're built up past that pitch count. I think they see how the 8th goes. If it's a quick 8th, yes, he does get a chance to go out back for the 9th. For sure.
Possible. It's too bad. It was, and I chuckled a little bit. He said afterward, I was disappointed for Austin Barnes, and who knows, maybe I'll get another shot this year. I'm thinking, yeah, right. The baseball gods are going to be like, really? Come on.
He might. He was nasty.
He was great.
Good.
He was great. 13 strikeouts along the way. Pretty cool. You know what else is cool? Making my dad body feel good. Courtesy of my friends over at MUGSY jeans. Most damn comfortable jeans around. I'm talking about the best fit. I've told you this countless times. I'm a Dow Joneser when it comes to weight. Sometimes I'm up. Sometimes I'm feeling good about myself. Right now, I got the dad bod to perfection. I love the way the MUGSY jeans look and they fit. I'm a big ass dude. I'm a thick thigh dude. Like Michelle always said, hey, if we're having a third kid, you're having it because your body is more built for childbearing hips than mine. I said, great point, honey, particularly now, but I want to look good. So I slip on my MUGSY jeans. I wore them twice down in Cabo for our 25th wedding anniversary. Michelle kept looking at me like, yo, what's up, bro? So if they do that for me, just imagine what they're going to do for you. MUGSY.com, code word today. You're going to get 10% off your entire order. And the thing I love most about them, amazing colors. I've got like the charcoal gray for the first time ever. You throw on whatever sexy makes you feel good. So once again, it is MUGSY.com. Code word is today. Get 10% off your entire order. Get back to it.
I'm sorry. If Michelle said, "Sup, bro?" to me, I don't know. I'd melt, I think. I'd melt.
I did.
You did.
I melted, and then I passed out, and I saw her the next day. All right, so there's 4 more home openers on Thursday. You can only go to one. Milwaukee, Los Angeles, San Diego, or Miami. And I'm not talking about just going to spend time in the city, too. I'm just talking about the 3 hours we drop you in for the baseball game, then you got to leave. Where are you going and why?
Can I get like an extended 5 hours? Is that okay?
You can put 2.5 on the front and back to fire up for the game and to party it afterward.
Thank you, because that goes into my answer. Now, sure, would I want to be in LA watching my guy Walker Buehler in his tight pants twirl a gem at Chavez Ravine? Of course. But guess what? Parking sucks there and you can't tailgate. So I'm out on that. Okay. The one place I'm going to Milwaukee. It's Cardinals. It's Brew Crew. It's Wainwright versus Woodruff. And I can get a brat in the parking lot, have some Kugels, drink some beer out there before the game. That's exactly what I want to be doing today. So if I did get to go to any 4 of these openers, it would 100% be going to see my Milwaukee Brewers take down the Cardinals tonight.
Does any of that have to do with the fact that you picked them to win the World Series and you want to party with all the people and they're going to be like, that's the guy who said we're going to win the World Series, and he was dead on about the Braves in 6 over the Astros last year. We love Trev.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with me drinking Liney's in the parking lot before I go in, okay? Instead of, a Dodger Stadium, you got to, go and they shuffle you right in.
Okay.
I want to chill out and party with the people. It doesn't matter if they know me or not, Chris.
All right, so I am going to go fight the traffic down to San Diego. I want to go check out the Padres. They're taking on the champs, the Atlanta Braves, for 4-game set, but I would like to be there on Thursday for a few reasons. First of all, we haven't seen Fernando Tatis Jr. since he got banged up and had the press conference that day. I would certainly hope that he will be there for opening day and get a chance to tip his cap. I want to hear the roar of the crowd for that. Plus, when they hit homers there now, they do the whole like Yankee Stadium flickering lights thing.
Yeah.
And it becomes a really cool atmosphere. And I just love every aspect of it. Third, and really it's the most important reason, my oldest son lives in San Diego now. So I want to go visit him. We would go hang out at the ball game and little father-son time. So little nostalgia. You know, we don't have to worry about missing a Guardians game because they're off on Thursday. So we can just chill, hang out, have a drink. He's 21. Who knows? Maybe we'll head to the gas lamp district afterward in my MUGSY jeans. That's too dangerous for people. I can't.
Yeah, that's dangerous for Michelle letting you down there in the gas lamp district with those MUGSYs on.
We can't do that. So I'm in San Diego for the game.
Let me tell you something. Milwaukee, LA, San Diego, Miami. There's no bad choice there. I go to Miami in a heartbeat. Let me tell you that right now.
No bad choice. Okay, news early on Thursday that the Pirates and Bryan Reynolds agreed on a 2-year deal, avoiding 2 years of arbitration in 22 and 23. It's 2 years worth $13.5 million. Of course, during spring training, his name was bandied about in trade talk yet again. Do you think this new 2-year agreement makes it more likely he stays in Pittsburgh, or now that we have a price tag on him, less likely?
I don't know how much it really changes, to be honest with you. I mean, the arbitration process is pretty much a fixed cost. I mean, it just kind of depends on how well he does, who his comps are going to be, but it's not like he's not on the open market yet. So I don't think it necessarily changes that much. So if you go back to kind of what I felt before the season, it really hasn't changed. I don't think he finishes, maybe not even this year. If a team needs a guy like him, which I mean, honestly, almost every single team needs him. But if there's like somebody gets hurt on one of these contending teams, they'll eventually give up what the Pirates are seeking, which is a big prospect laden deal. Like they want real deal prospects for this guy, and they should, because he's, I'm not going to call him a unicorn, but he's, one of these players that doesn't come around very often. Okay. So I don't think he makes it through the 2 years. I'm not sure he even makes it through this year. And it's sad for Pittsburgh, but I think eventually someone comes with the offer that they want.
Yep. He's on the move. This does not change things at all. Doesn't do a thing. He's gone. And I knew he was gone the minute that Bryan Hayes and the Pirates came to an agreement on a lengthy deal. And I think that finally got confirmed yesterday and became official. So now that they've done that, the team has checked that box and said, this is the guy we're building around. And Bryan Reynolds is going to be the next guy that departs Pittsburgh and brings in a boatload of prospects. And hopefully you can build Bryan Hayes and O'Neal Cruz. And, maybe you find some pitching in some of these deals, because that's the area where this franchise lacks the most, in my opinion. And I wish Bryan Reynolds well wherever he eventually lands in June, July, because that's what's happening.
When is this window for them? You lock up Bryan for 8 years, I think it is. Like, is the window in? Yeah. Is there a window?
No, it has not been cracked open. It hasn't. It's almost like the window is behind break this glass in case of emergency. So it's a window behind glass because they haven't broken that part open. They just can't. They're nowhere close to being ready.
You tell me they're going to build around Bryan. When are they going to build around him? Because this dude, Bryan Reynolds, is 27 years old. He's got plenty of time left in his prime.
I know, but
why do we have to get rid of him? Why he just came and took a deal, which probably is going to get him less money in the long run. The Pirates are going to save money on this deal because he's probably going to outperform whatever projections they had for him. That's my opinion. Okay. Right. So why couldn't they say, hey, we locked up Bryan. Let's lock you up too, bro.
Well,
why can't we have two players to build upon?
I'm going to give you the reason.
Okay.
Because the Oakland A's just got 8 prospects for Matt Chapman and Matt Olson. And both those guys at the time of the trade were 2 years away from free agency. Bryan Reynolds isn't headed to free agency until after the 2025 season. So they look at that and they say, okay, they got really good prospects for each of those guys whose clocks were ticking. Now Olson ended up signing a deal less than 24 hours after the trade. But yeah, they're going to look at it. They're going to say we get 4 or 5 prospects, and if we hit on 2 or 3 of them, that's a great trade for us.
Here's the thing, Chris. They've been drafting at the top of the draft for how many freaking years in a row? Like, where are your prospects? Do you know what I mean? Like, you have the only thing you can hope for when you get prospects is they turn out like Bryan Reynolds. That is, you will be so happy if one of the 3 prospects that you get back for Bryan Reynolds turns into Bryan Reynolds. Like, how dumb is this thing where we just like have to have prospects and have to have people waiting in the wings when the wings are here and working just fine? Like, go develop some other players. Like, come on, guys. Like, this, it's not the end. Even though I do believe he will be traded. Okay. Going back to the original question, it's not always the answer. Like, and that's, I don't know, man. We're talking about the Pirates and trying to figure it out. Good luck.
Okay. Well, let's go back here a little bit. So while we're here, starting in 2012, here are your Pirates' first round picks. I mean, we could even go back to 2010 because you know who that is. It's Jameson Taillon. He's in New York. Next year, Garrett Cole, he's in New York. Mark Appel never signed with them, went back in the draft. And, or maybe he did sign with them. No, they didn't sign him. But, he's out of baseball. You ever heard of Barrett Barnes? Nope. Austin Meadows, he got traded. Reese McGuire, well, he's not there. Cole Tucker, there we go. Connor Joe, there's one. He's playing in Colorado. Kevin Newman, he's part of the team. Brian Hayes, Will Craig, he's gone. Nick Lodolo just made his major league debut yesterday with the Cincinnati Reds. Shane Baz, he's down in Tampa. And then the other guys are probably too young. Travis Swaggerty, Quinn Priester, Nick Gonzalez, and Henry Davis, who was the number 1 pick a year ago. There you go.
All right.
You feel any better?
No, the draft's a crapshoot. Everyone knows that too. Everything's a crapshoot until they're not. You have an established player here. Try to keep him around a little bit.
Speaking of the draft, the NFL draft is 2 weeks from today. And one of the bigger prospects physically is Jordan Davis, a defensive tackle out of the University of Georgia, who, of course, won the national championship. 6'6", 341. He threw out the first pitch yesterday in Atlanta. Actually, pretty good movement on the ball. I was impressed. He kind of short-armed it, but he did all right. So good job, Jordan. Who is your favorite big man to ever have played baseball?
Well, first, that pitch was very impressive. Hopefully we can get the video going here. It's the favorite big man ever to play baseball. I think I've mentioned him on the show a few times, if not here talking baseball. It's Mike Pelfrey. He qualifies as a big man, 6'7", 240, and that 240 is very generous. I would say it's more like 260. He carried a little extra weight there. Big boy. One of the all-time funniest teammates I've ever had. One time in Miami, for instance, he wasn't pitching, and there was this massive Costco size thing of cheese puffs, and he'd eat anything. So we challenged him to eat the whole cheese puff thing by the end of the game. And we paid some money, like $500. Got a bunch of 20s from everybody or whatever. I came back down like the 3rd inning. He was sitting on the couch about a quarter of the way done, and he had just thrown up. He didn't make it through, but like he tried his very hardest. He went for it until he vomited. So that's the kind of guy Mike Pelfrey is.
Cheese puffs, man. I think I could have given him a run for the money. I'm a big cheese puffs guy.
He said his mouth was hurting.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you're not training for it, competitive eating, you got no shot. For me, it was Charlie Kerfeld. Not sure if you knew that name at all. Big time pitcher in the mid 80s. He was on the Astros 86 team that lost to the Mets in the NLCS. 6'6". They had him listed about 225, 230. No way. He was probably 250, but had the weirdest glasses I've seen this side of Rick Vaughn. They were like tinted. He had a big lipper in, just like quintessential 80s fireballer. And he always stuck with me. I think he pitched a little bit for Atlanta as well, bounced around a bit. But Charlie Kerfeld was one of those guys that you would always remember. He just always seemed like this mythical giant when I was a kid growing up. So
he's from Knob Noster, Missouri. His career ERA is 4.2. So 4.20 career ERA, and he had 6 games started and 9 saves. This guy's a stud.
There you go. My God, you connected all the numbers for us today. Thanks. What do you have coming up on John Boy Media?
We have a series recap coming out tomorrow. We'll recap the series that have gone on this week. That was a lot of fun to do that on Monday, so we'll do that again tomorrow. We have our midweek episode out right now. We talk about the bomb thing. We talk about some of the rookies. Jake talks about how he hates catchers and catcher framing. You know what? People need to chill out, dude. I don't even say inning right.
When you say bomb, I'm like, oh my God, we had a bomb scare. No, it's just boom. Sorry.
An inning. I know it's inning, but I say inning. Like, come on. Like, you're not going to make fun of everyone for the way they talk. I say bomb, boom. It's tough for me.
Trying to help our listeners.
People, but they talk crap about me in the comments, man. What about you?
Latest episode of the Rose Rotation with Miguel Rojas is out, and I want to thank him from the bottom of my heart. He had a tough game in Anaheim on Tuesday. Didn't make a play at the end of the game. Infield drawn in. Didn't sleep at all. Taking a red eye back to Miami. Came on and did the show after spending a half hour in the cage trying to get himself right after struggling in the early part of the season. Takes us through the mental anguish of what it feels like when you lost a game.
That's awesome. I would have flaked on you for sure.
Right. And I think people need to understand how rare this is. I would have perfectly understood if he had said, hey, Rosie, I'm not up to it today. But he was like, no, I need to tell people what's going on.
But that's why he's Miggy Rojas, though. That's what that's what makes him him.
He's amazing. One other thing before we go. You saw the announcement by Jimmy, one of our fearless leaders of John Boy Media, that we have joined forces with Amazon. There's a new audio app out there called AMP. We are going to be doing a daily show. This one, Baseball Today, every Monday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern to 12:30 p.m. Pacific time. So that's just 1 hour, even though we go from a.m. to p.m., everybody. And don't worry, Baseball Today is not changing. You can still get your digestible 20 to 25 minutes on our YouTube, on the podcast format. But we are also going to be doing a live version. If you want to join us, just download that app. We'll have more information coming out on our social media channels, but we're not doing this as an hour show strictly. There will be the hour live version, but if you want it a little bit later in the day, the 20 to 25 minutes, that is there for you as well. You want to make sure of that. Okay?
That's it.
For our producer extraordinaire, the one and only Dan Rourke, that is Trevor Plouffe. I'm Chris Rose. We'll see you Friday on Baseball Today.